One.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Nancy Musa Effect. Don't forget guys to like, comment and subscribe so that every time I drop a video you guys will be the first to know. Now today I've got a very special friend with me. Her name is Hope.
Hello.
And I've known Hope since sixth form, so we go way back. And today we're going to be talking about a little bit of your life, you know, the dating scene, what you found out and, you know, things about yourself really. So yeah, so starting off, let's talk about your family, your upbringing. What were your family dynamics?
I suppose I grew up in a one single parent home.
Yeah.
But I also grew up in a 2-parent home.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is after my parents broke up, I lived with my dad.
Yeah. And
I had a stepmother, so I had that kind of I don't know what to call it, but like a 2-parent home type situation. It's just that person wasn't my mother.
Yeah. How old were you when your parents broke up?
I could say probably by 2 they'd broken up.
Okay, so really still quite young.
Very young.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really have like an idea of them being together, if you know what I mean. But the idea I had of a couple, of like a mother and father, was with my with my father and my stepmother.
Yeah.
And then I moved in with my mum when I was around 6.
Okay.
And then that's when the whole single parent journey single parent's perspective came into play, because prior to that I didn't really
because you're going between both, or were you living with your dad and stepmom?
Literally just living with my dad and my stepmom, and then my mum would visit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she would visit.
That's quite weird, because normally when parents break up, the mum is usually the main carer of the child, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the fact that you got to live with your dad and your stepmom, does that mean you have a closer relationship with your dad?
At that time, yes.
Yeah.
Obviously not anymore.
Yeah.
Now that I've grown, like from 6, 7.
Yeah.
Since then, obviously, I lived with my mum.
Yeah.
But initially, for the first couple of years, it was very difficult to kind of connect with my mum because I had established a certain connection with my dad.
Yeah.
But then after after the years go by, and I obviously become more indoctrinated in living a different life, as in the single parent perspective, I became a lot closer with my mum.
Okay, cool. So what were your views on marriage growing up? Because obviously you've had, let's say, best of both worlds, isn't it? So what were your views on marriage?
Well, let's just say, no. When I was growing up with my dad, I'm not gonna lie to you, I saw marriage as a prison.
Okay.
And I grew up with that mentality because when I was living with my dad, obviously his friends and a lot of the men that I used to see, what I used to view, especially with my stepmom, is she would come home. No, she wouldn't. She would be at home. He would come home, and she would have to make sure everything was set for him. You know, food ready, water, like bath ready at his selected temperature. Yeah. He run everything.
Okay.
But yet, in terms of, how can I say this? He had more of a dominant voice in the house. Yeah. Whereas I would see her making sure everything's happening. Yeah. Whereas I wouldn't see him valuing that. So for me, I saw it as a prison. I saw it as marriage for a woman anyway. Yeah. Was a space for suffering. A space of just you giving. Yeah. And personally, I saw women like that as weak in a way. Yeah. Because I didn't understand what they gained from having that kind of relationship with somebody.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a very interesting perspective, to be honest. So your stepmom was very the stay-at-home kind of wife, home like keeper and stuff like that, and your dad was the one that went out, made the bread, provided. Yeah. But he literally was the one that didn't do anything in the house, so there was no equality at all. No. So they would never have lived an egalitarian lifestyle because it just wasn't for them. Very traditional. Wow. So does that mean for you, your perspective on marriage was not necessarily a good one then? Because obviously, especially seeing it from the woman's point of view, obviously if maybe your brother, or if you were a man, you might have thought, okay, cool, so I'm gonna be maybe like my dad. But for a woman in that position, growing up as a young girl, seeing what your stepmom went through, does that mean for you had I don't want to say negative perspective on marriage, but not such a great one then.
No, I 100%. I just used to think to myself, I never wanted to be in that position.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be, how I looked at it, walked all over. I wanted to be valued. I wanted to be put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Now, what was interesting is my dad, that relationship, well, at that time anyway, how he's got, I think, how many of us? Quite a few daughters.
Yeah.
And he would instill in us to be hardworking, to never take shit from no man. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but like that we're queens, that we should be put on a pedal, and that's how he treated us. This is the expectation for you.
Oh, okay.
However, because I wouldn't have the enough courage to say, okay, fair enough. Then why do you treat my stepmother like that?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? If this is how you want us to be treated, I don't really see that being emulated in your relationship. That was then. Funny enough, now they've been together for, I don't even know how many, over 20 something years, probably 30. It's a whole different person, if you know what I mean. So growing up, their relationship wasn't something I admired, I inspired to have. Now their relationship is something that I inspired to have, and it's taught me, you know, I've said this several times to you as well, it's taught me that it's a whole journey.
Wow.
If you know, and it's taught me basically how I respect. Remember before I said I used to see women like her as weak. I respect my stepmother so much now for the strength for me that she's demonstrated, and making my father this man that I never knew he would become, making my father a husband, making my father I don't know, just a different type of man, like responsible, I don't know,
probably more caring,
you know,
more compassionate, because I guess the way, you know, you told us that like your dad treated your stepmom, I can imagine it's in quite a harsh way.
It was very dismissive. It's the word. It's very dismissive. I'm the main person in this life. Everything's about me. And
I'm the head of the house. Literally, he portrayed that kind of African man, head of the house. You know, everything that I say must go and stuff like that. So is there anything that you would take, and you've just said I know, but what would you take from their marriage now that you would use when you get married later on?
I suppose it's perseverance. That's one. Understanding. That's one, because I feel like my stepmother understood my dad.
That's important.
That's not easy. And I would those two, I suppose, are the two main things: perseverance and understanding.
So what are your expectations of marriage? Like, what do you expect your marriage will be like, knowing that you've come from, you know, a single parent home, your mum was single, and then obviously having your dad and stepmom there?
I would say, one, it's good to always be yourself. You know, but also have the understanding that the foundation is yourself, but there's moments where you have to compromise with someone else, and that doesn't mean it's a loss. The other thing that I've actually come to understand is at different points or at different seasons, the roles change. You know, true. And I'll give you an example. I can find my partner today financially set. Tomorrow, that might not be the case. It might be now my role to kind of have that leadership role in finances, you know, or it might be today I might find my partner being more more at home, more caring, you know, and then that might change when I get pregnant and have children, and then that's more my role. But it's kind of knowing how to be flexible with situations like that and still respecting that person for who they are, and kind of allowing that adaptability no matter what, which is hard. I say in theory, but I know in reality that the transition of that is difficult.
Definitely. And I think we're blessed in a sense of the day and age we live in now, because obviously if we were to get married 20, 30 years ago, it would be so different. it'll be so different. Like with me now, I know that I like doing things for myself, but then I also like being at home mum. Like I stopped working 4 years ago to look after the kids and stuff like that. Like I love that, but then I also want to do something for myself at the same time, because you have different levels and senses of fulfillment. And I think it's good because a lot of men now are like, listen, because I know Joe, he's like, listen, if Nancy's got a plan that, you know, can obviously do what it needs to do, I'll stand behind her regardless. He supports me anyway, but we're lucky in the sense of like men now, they're a lot more open-minded and they're a lot more like, I don't mind, you know, staying at home, being that at-home dad. If my wife wants to go out, then get it, and then maybe we could swap. It's not like you must stay at home by force, because I feel like we'll just be so trapped and feel so trapped. So I'm glad that you have that kind of mindset of things can change and be flexible. I think that is very good advice. So looking at yourself and perspective of yourself, because I know you've grown a lot, like watching, you know, you grow up and stuff like that. What are 3 things about yourself that you feel like maybe you need to improve on in terms of dating? So 3 things that you think, okay, cool, I need to improve on this, I need to improve on that, because it will benefit me when I'm dating someone.
I think one of the things, I suppose, is how I view myself. I think that's very important, because if you love yourself and you do see yourself as something of worth, and if you're enough for yourself, when you do go into another situation, you're not, those insecurities are not going to hinder you. And one thing that I've learned for myself is half of the reasons why maybe a lot of my, how can I say this? Like, I look at girls like myself where I'm thinking to myself, you have so many great attributes. If somebody told me right now to write down a list of all the things that I'm great at, I would do that.
Yeah. Do you know, mean for the other person? Like for yourself? For like, what's so great about you, Hope? Okay. I would be like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. But when I'm in my relationships, I don't bring all of those positive thoughts or positive attributes of myself into it. I'm thinking all the negatives about me, or all the, you know, and unfortunately what that brings is a lot of insecurities. So if somebody likes me, do they really like me? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm thinking, I look at myself now, I'm like, well, if you're this, why isn't some, like, of course they like you, because you're exactly. this. Because that's what made them like you, because you're all of this. Exactly. It's remembering my positives, believing my positives. Yeah, exactly. So what makes you not believe them and take that forward and think, you know, I'm wearing this badge of honour of, I know I'm all of this stuff, so... Yeah, so I'm this ish, basically. I suppose it's deep self-awareness. And it's also sometimes it's I would say when things happen, life happens. Yeah. And I'm having to learn that that's got nothing to do with, because sometimes when things happen, you tell yourself, well, if you are this, why is this happened to you? That must mean you're not this. Yeah, that's true. So it's kind of like self-doubt. Yeah. Like nipping that in the bud and realizing I'm human. Yeah. That doesn't change this. Yeah, exactly. If you know what I mean. No, that 100%. Because like, if you have a great doctor that's, you know, done so many surgeries, healed so many people, if he makes one mistake, that does not make him a bad doctor. Thank you. Like, literally, things happen. And I think for us, what's similar about us is our level of like self-belief, like the belief we have in ourselves. Like, that's something that I've really been working on lately. And it's hard because growing up like me, I wasn't confident. I didn't believe I can do certain things. So being able to kind of like work on that and gain that about myself, it is hard. So you kind of have to tell yourself, no, like you literally, like I work on that every single day for me to kick that habit, because when you do that in life, you'll literally like miss out on certain things. You'll be insecure about certain things. You'll view the world different. Your perspectives are different. You won't even want to really do much because you just believe you can't do it. Exactly. So you're losing out. But so for you, what are the things you work on for yourself? Because I know like you go to gym and stuff like that. Because you're looking to date and stuff, what are the things you work on in yourself? One, I do meditate. Oh, that's amazing. But that's to do with my psyche. Okay. You know, that's to do, it's all about, like I said to you, it's all about me not doubting myself that much. Yeah. Me believing the person that I
I know I am.
Yeah.
And that is about consistent, I would call it ritualistic work.
Yeah.
Which means I get up and I listen to all the meditations in the world, and I'm positive affirmations, reading books about, how to self-develop. And that's one aspect. And then obviously then I put it into action, because there's no point on me having all this information and not putting it into action.
Yeah.
So things obviously like my career, trying to say, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this, instead of being like, because sometimes you don't want to go for certain things because you don't feel, that you're ready for it, or that it's supposed to be yours. It's that consistently working on myself mentally.
Yeah.
Allows me to be like, no, that's mine.
I deserve this.
I deserve this. Yeah. I've worked hard for this. Exactly. Let me go get this.
Yeah.
Why, I don't have anything different from anybody else giving me an excuse not to have it, if you know what I mean.
No, 100%.
So again, going and then obviously working on myself physically.
Yeah.
Making sure my food's right. I'm not gonna say that I'm like somebody that is 100% don't eat this and don't eat that. No, I eat everything, but within moderation. But I'm very conscious as well on how much I'm eating certain things, how much I'm eating a home cooked meal versus going out. And it's so weird because, not weird, it's the right thing to do. But when I was younger, I didn't care about, buying food outside. I could do that 4 or 5 times a day. 4 or 5 times a week or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas now,
I was gonna say a day.
No, sorry, my darling. No. But I'm very conscious that even if I've got the money and I'm lazy, no, I'll go and make a meal. Or I'd rather have 5 home cooked meals and have one, takeaway, because that's just how it goes. So it's being conscious about that. Yeah. Knowing, okay, I've had, I don't know, sometimes I'll go through vegetarian stages. I'm East African, so it's natural for us to have vegetarian meals. Yeah, but I'm conscious about that as well, to be like, okay, I've had a bit of meat here, I've been having a bit of meat quite a lot. Yeah. Let me make a vegetarian meal just for do you know what I mean? And just kind of being conscious about how much I am taking into my body that is not, that is going to be conducive for energy, because I know it's also going to be conducive in how my weight, because I'm very conscious about that. And then obviously gymming as well. It's all, with gym, it's therapy to me. If you know what I mean. Really it's good. Mental, it's physical. I'm going through a crappy time, I'll go in there and I'm ready. My mind is ready, because at the end of the day, we all go through stuff. Every single human being goes through stuff. Exactly. But it's just kind of finding strategies to kind of keep it together and just be your best self at all times. And then it's my adventurous side, but I'm aware I'm adventurous. I'm aware that I'm a thrill seeker. You know what I mean? So kind of feeding that as well is very important. Doing new things all the time. I might hate it, but at least I've tried it. So feeding my adventurous spirit and the fact that I like to explore and
that's really good.
Find new things. I feed that, and I would do that on my own, if you know what I mean.
No, that's really good.
I've been doing it on my own. Do you get what I mean? And that
it's good when you do things on your own, because that you find out, you discover more about yourself. You find out who you are, what you like, what you don't like. Do you know what I mean? Like I go to cinema by myself. I bought myself a cinema pass. I'm like, listen, I want to go watch a movie.
Yes, sir.
I watch the kid, and he'll be like, yeah, have fun, and then we'll come back and talk about me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not ashamed to do things by myself, because it's part of my self-growth, part of my self-development, and knowing what I like. So for you, on the days that like you just feel like crap and you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to eat good, how do you like fight it and just push through to be like, nah, even though I feel like crap, I still need to go gym? How do you fight it? Like, what mentality do you kind of like